Hello and welcome to episode 9 of A Railway Empire. This is Intro Aether. So I just loaded this map in, had a quick look around, and noticed that this train here is doing something rather peculiar. Quickly click on him and have a look at what he's meant to be doing. So of course this is from the kerfuffle at the end of last episode. He should be docking in this station here. But he's missed his switch. But what I can't understand is he's also gone through this signal, which is a one-way signal. I don't quite understand how this train could have gotten to this point. Admittedly, this top piece of track here should have been a double track, a one-way track like that. So I can understand why he's gone along here, because it's a two-way track. But I'm baffled as to how he's gotten past this signal. Right, so we've obviously got to sort this out, because at the moment we've got both of these lines populated with trains that are heading down towards this guy who's looking rather trapped at the time being. So we can obviously delete this train, but it seems like a bit of a shame to do that. He's made his way all the way up here from New York with a full load of passengers. So what we can do is we can just add a quick switch in. This is the beauty of the manual pause mode. And then of course we've got to just quickly amend these sections of track. So we'll get rid of this one-way signal, and that will allow him to drive along here. And then we're going to instruct him not to drive into this section of track, because our switch is there. So that should at least get him moving along. We can delete these two and put one here, so at least he can wait as far up the track as possible, because he's going to want to merge in behind this one. We should just have enough room to do it. If we remove this signal, then when this train exits the station, he can come along here and wait, and then we can probably get another train in, and we might need that. We shall see. So I'm going to go with that for the time being, so we're just going to run it and see what happens. Right, so it's working so far. And then hopefully this guy's got enough...
Was that your wheel that just rolled towards me?
Yeah, this should be fine. We can instruct this guy to come right up to the tail end of this train, and that'll free up enough space for him to dock in the station. Then he can move forward. Crisis averted. Or not. What have we got? Oh, is it really saying that this last carriage is on this switch and therefore this guy can't move forward? I think that's what it looks like. So we're going to have to try and move one of these guys along with a signal. Doesn't look like we've got room to do it. Ah, that's a shame. If I'd have put this switch in a little bit further up, it would have given us more room. Well, somebody's got to go, and this guy doesn't interfere with our completing our task, so I'm afraid 5 bits of meat are going to the dump. So we can delete this train with the trash can symbol. Every cloud has a silver lining. We're going to get 30,000 back, so we can basically replace him straight away. So now if we run the game, it should just sort itself out. Yep. Alright, so that was Buffalo to Syracuse freight. So let's just set him up again. So now we can get on with today's episode with a bit of luck. Actually, whilst we're here, we're going to want to repair these signals as best we can. So this one wants to go there, that wants to be deleted, that wants to be deleted. That distance is fine. This This needs one here. We're going to delete this switch the second this train's moved on, so we can delete that signal. Place them just so he moves on sooner. I'm going to want to delete that one. I think that looks about right. We obviously want one here. I'll place one there for the sugar train, it will need it eventually. That looks about right, so I think that's going to be fine. We will just leave the camera up here for a minute or two when we do start running the game. More maintenance, or this guy increases the chance of your train surviving without a breakdown. So I think this cattle line here, because it gets onto the main line for the majority of its journey, and we have 4 of them, I think that these are good candidates to place that sort of engineer on, or stoker as it is. A breakdown in this area is more costly, say, than if our milk train breaks down, or one of the passenger trains up here. So that's that. Now Buffalo and Syracuse seem to be growing quite nicely, and that's just the basic demands being met, though we are starting to demand more and more things, so it's going to be more tough to continue that growth. Buffalo up to 42,000, which is nice. So let's run the game. Let's just make sure that these guys sort themselves out. What's that? Oh, Back to the Future moment there. Right, so now we can get in and quickly delete the pieces that solved that little crisis. Distance from here to here is about fine. Yep, I think we'll leave it like that. These guys eventually won't be going to that station, they should actually be over here instead. And that's the thing we're going to be doing next, and that's sending out as many trains as we can from New York to Buffalo, carrying those passengers up there, completing that task. I think it's going to be worth placing a supply tower on this route as well. This is quite a long way for them to go, and because we've got lots of trains following each other on a sort of like where they can't overtake each other, breakdowns are particularly bad. We'll place this in up here. Fine. Right, so another one of those. The money rolls in very quickly when you've got it on double speed and you're past the early game. Well, I guess this is still early game, but it doesn't feel like early game anymore. Right, no staff conflicts there, that's good. Once we've got enough staff members, and I mean like maybe once you've got 30 or 40, it's worth quickly listing them and seeing if you can get any of them to pair up and get an additional boost. If you have a look at the staff members, you can see that they have this feature down at the bottom left hand corner here, where he gets along well with superficial people but can't stand being around crafty ones. So you can bear that in mind and you can eke an extra bonus. So this guy, let's clone him. Let's just check his route. I did do this in the time lapse there a minute or two back on the last episode. So this looks fine. That's exactly what we're after. So we can clone him. And then as soon as we've saved up enough money, we'll clone and send another one out. This time we'll clone platform number 4. Although really, because these are kind of being told to wait for 8 carriages, and they will only load 1 carriage onto one train, so if you've got 2 trains docked here, only one of them will be loaded, and then once that one's full, the next one will start loading. There's really no point in having two platforms there at all. But we've got them for the time being, so we'll use them. Right, so we're going to continue to spawn these trains. And then we're going to want to start sorting buffalo out, because the task of growing buffalo to 70,000 is what we're going to want to move on to. So we're obviously going to need cattle. Cattle doesn't count for the city's actual demand fulfillment, because the cattle is required for an industry. But we are going to want to bring in some corn, and obviously beer will be coming in. In actual fact, we might want to set up a separate train or another train bringing beer across, because we're going to have a lot of trains taking meat, because our passenger trains, once they unload their passengers here in Buffalo, are being instructed to carry freight to either Syracuse or Albany. Yeah, so we really need to start feeding these cities with their sort of raw resources that they need. That's one of the things I like about this game. You know, what you do and when, because there's lots of scope for trying different things, different approaches. You can do things in different orders. Right, so this guy just made it back, although his last route isn't showing yet. Maybe he needs to load before that will show. Of course, what I mentioned earlier about our cattle line, where I said it's not worth putting the stokers on if they make them faster, that of course isn't true if you've got say 4 trains in the loop and you happen to have 4 stokers that make them faster. That way you can make all of them faster, and of course then you would get the bonus for it. I'm just going to leave them staff members there for a little bit. It's too much to think of. Let's clone one more of these guys, and then we'll try and figure out how many we've got. Oh. So that would be 4 from platform 4, and then 3, so that's 7 of them. And if we're sending one every week, have we got a journey time yet? 137 days. I'm a bit reluctant to rely on that though, because we did have major problems with some of those trains being kind of not sure where they were going. It's awfully quiet up here for the time being. That will change in time. An inventor.
Seems like your engineer has been caught with their pants down.
76,000 for 100 innovation points. That doesn't sound like a good deal. Now these stations, because they're single stations, are going to be getting extremely busy when we've got lots of trains heading back. I think we're probably going to want to upgrade them soon enough. So that is another full train heading off to Buffalo. So we can have a quick check on our task now. Oh, we're still on 148 passengers.
You didn't know what to do with that technology anyway.
So that means that the AI has just stolen our 10% boost in science points. That doesn't seem fair. Maybe there should be a way of like insuring yourself against them stealing specific things. If you value it more than others, you could maybe give up 1 or 2 points a month to ensure that they can't steal it. That'd be fun. Right, so we've got 100,000 here now. We're going to need to try and decide how to spend it. I'm entirely not sure how long these trains are taking in their loop. Presumably this guy. See, he's saying 165 days. I don't believe it's that long to get up there. We'll just let that run for the time being. What do we need? Oh, we've got another clothing factory. That is just not what we wanted. Finally, we've got a cloth making factory. That's going to be extremely hard work to try and supply New York, Baltimore and Syracuse with cloth. But we really need... There's money to be made here by transporting this cloth in. So we're going to get on that right now. Expand our station. We're going to double track. All the way up. Past where the cotton is going to come from. And already we're going to need more money. So let's just run the game. Save some cash up. Maybe we can jump on and catch a ride with this guy. And he breaks down. Beautiful timing. God damn it. He looks happier. He's moving along quite swiftly. Right.
What do they say? Competition is good for business.
135 grand should be enough to complete what we want to do here. So first things first, let's delete this small section of double track, and then we can lay our real double track. Ooh. That is not what we're after. That does look more like it. So that's the majority of our money. I'm going to want to add a double switch in here. Hopefully this won't take too much distance being on this curve. No, that's fine. I'm going to want to complete this line, just merge it in, unless we go all the way to the station. There's no real need to do that for the time being. Just bring it to here. And then it will be a question of making those tracks one way. I've obviously got another signal somewhere, so we'll have to find that. And that's caused this track to turn red. Namely that bit. Oh. Zoom in here. This one. Okay. You get a situation like this, you can always place another signal slightly ahead of it, and then the one that it's using should become unused. Yep. Delete this guy. Right, so what have we got here? I want the bottom track to be one way heading towards the left. So we need this guy here. And that's fine. And then we can auto signal the gaps. And again, it's not letting me place the auto signal. It's just going red. I'm not sure why that is. It might be because I've deleted some signals and not unpaused the game for a split second. It could be that it still treats that track as a piece of a one way going the other way or something along those lines. Right, we're getting there. That looks fine. And then we can just delete. No, not quite. I'd be interested to see what this train does now, because he's obviously going the wrong way. Looks like he's just going to stop there, so I'm just going to delete him. He's not broken down or anything, is he? No, just for the benefit of everybody else, he's going to the bin. Now let's double check these signals. Yes, we can get to both lanes of the station, or both platforms. Right, so that should be that. Now we can place a station up here for our cloth or cotton. Oh, I want to put this, like, once again, the distance between like where this station is
Why are you building a station in the middle of nowhere?
And its destination doesn't really matter so much as the ability to be able to merge in and out at a point where you're not going to cause a blockage. That looks pretty good, so we will go with that and expand to the outside, which would be the outside, so that's fine. There's a little bit more money needed for that. There's quite a lot of earthworks going on there. Right, so we've failed on our task of getting to an 800,000 profit in enough time to get a perfect score, so hopefully we're going to make up with that on some other tasks. And that was an error message saying a train was waiting for another one, was it? No, it looks like it's just loading of passengers that's causing a message. So some more research. So if we can get to this, it's going to increase the speed with which we can get our passengers to Buffalo. So let's try and unlock 3 of these on this page so we can unlock this train. It does look like before you're going to do that you have to unlock the Dragon, which is 200. We have 196. Right, so it looks like unlocking the Dragon here and then unlocking this next one where it reduces the prices of a new locomotive by 30% is probably going to be the way to go, because we are looking to upgrade all of our trains at some point in the future, and obviously the 30% discount is going to be much appreciated. So we'll just have to wait for that for the time being. Once we've got enough money to lay our track here we will, and then we can start getting those trains transporting this cotton into Albany. We're really going to want to make this
Seems like your engineer has been caught with their pants down.
We're going to want to make sure that this weaving factory upgrades as soon as possible. So we're going to want to make sure that its utilization is at a flat line of 100%. So this guy's going to need deleting. This one turned into a one-way. That's enough space. This one can go a bit further up. And this guy can go further up. I've made a mistake there, I see. No, I haven't. It's this one that I needed to delete. It threw me off. It's facing the wrong way. So there we go. Now we're going to want to double track this line up to the cotton factory so we can run more than one train into Albany. I would imagine 3 or 4 for the time being. We're really going to want to max that line out, but that'll provide a good profit, and then we can start shipping the cloth into our clothing factories. And that gets the ball rolling big time. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. See you soon.